What's going on, guys? It's Bart.
And it's Ben.
And we're here to talk about the NBA draft and who the Grizzlies should draft. Ben, I think we both had the same assumption. They should draft RJ Barrett.
Yes, we do agree on that. There is no doubt in my mind. The Grizzlies should draft RJ Barrett. Now, will they do it? That's another question.
And Ben, I think the only reason they don't do it is because they're scared. They're not scared about Ja over RJ because, in my opinion, it's basically, you can just consider it a toss-up of who's the better player. They're scared of the media backlash from the city because we both live in the city. We both know who everyone was saying they needed to draft, who everyone was cheering for after they won the second overall pick. It was Ja. It was Ja. And I was like, what about RJ? What about the other two-letter name in the
Equation.
in the draft? In the equation. Now, RJ did come out today and said he wants to be in New York. He said he would love to play in New York in his post workout interview. He said, I would love to be here in New York. Ja was in Memphis on, I believe it was Sunday. He was here yesterday getting a workout in. And RJ will not travel to Memphis. He has basically eliminated the Grizzlies from the equation. So should that in any way hinder the Grizzlies' decision from who you think they should draft, which is RJ Barrett?
I don't think so. It doesn't matter what RJ Barrett wants. We'll have him 4 years if he decides he hates Memphis. But no one really decides that.
No.
And think about this. I've had multiple discussions with people, and they're all scared. They think RJ Barrett is not a good fit. They think the Grizzlies are too small of a market to draft RJ Barrett. Are you kidding me? The bigger teams, you're going to say, deserve the better players because they can pay them more? No. A smaller market team has to draft the guys that they cannot get in free agency. They have to go after them in the draft.
Exactly.
Without a doubt. There is no reason to tippy-toe around and not draft the guy that is better. The guy that wants to be the number one player in the NBA, the guy that challenged Zion at Duke to be the best player on that team, and you can easily argue that RJ was the best player on that team.
For the entire season.
It's a fair argument.
It's a fair argument.
And when Zion was hurt, which RJ Barrett didn't get hurt, when Zion was hurt, RJ carried that team. And you couldn't ask for a better leader and a more motivated individual to lead a rebuild and to lead the Grizzlies into improving as a team.
My thing with RJ, and we talked about this the other day, with RJ, it's not a complete rebuild. You can talk yourself into, with RJ and a couple moves here and there, you can talk yourself into making a playoff run this year. With Ja, it is complete, okay, we're starting at the bottom again, kind of like when we drafted Mike 12 years ago in 2007. Mike was the beginning of the rebuild after we missed out on, I believe it was, after we drafted Rudy Gay, traded away Shane Battier, and drafted Kyle Lowry. And we also talked about how we messed up there, drafting maybe, Hasheem Thabeet. We've messed up in prior drafts. So do you think the Grizzlies, again, it's different guys we think are making these decisions. Do you think the Grizzlies finally make that, pull the trigger and make a move? Or do you think they pussyfoot around again?
Well, so here's the thing. The Grizzlies, I believe, want to get it right.
Right.
And I think that's why they're scared to choose someone other than Ja Morant.
Yes.
Even the media that doesn't even care about the Memphis Grizzlies as an organization, have all said, oh, just put Ja Morant at number 2, without question. Well, who gets to decide that at the end? That's the Grizzlies ownership and the Grizzlies guys that are making the decisions. And do I trust them to make the right decision? No.
No.
Not at all.
Have they taught us to think anything different, though?
No. And mistake after mistake after the draft. You don't develop
Wade Baldwin.
You don't develop your players.
No.
Look at Dylan Brooks. He's gotten worse.
Right. After having
you can argue injuries,
yeah.
but he's gotten worse as a player.
I mean, all-rookie team caliber year last year, and this year played in, 20 games, 30 games? I was talking to someone at work today, and they said that Mike has ruined this franchise as far as his contract. Now, if you draft Ja, you get that you get that one fan someone had because, okay, they'll get rid of Mike. Now, if you draft RJ, I personally think if you draft RJ, you still get rid of Mike in the sense of you get younger. I personally, and I think you've agreed, and you had actually tweeted about this yesterday, you draft RJ, you do a sign and trade with Mike, or sign and trade with the Celtics, and the guy who's signing is Terry Rozier, and you try to get that pick back that the Celtics have that is basically over your head the next 2 seasons. Because in my opinion, with that, why the Celtics, in my opinion, should take that is because of this. The Grizzlies, with Ja, they're gonna suck for a couple seasons. They're not gonna do good. It's just, it's just how it works. You don't really play well when you have a young point guard who can score, yes.
Look at the Hawks, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter. They're young. They're not going to be great. Even the Lakers, when they had all the young talents, they were terrible.
Exactly. I mean, you're not going to make the play. And I'm not saying with RJ we're a million times better, but I think with RJ you're in a better position to make pushes, to make a push, a player or two away from making the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I mean, in what really could be a down Western Conference or a more even out West with Klay Thompson, Maley, Golden
you
State.
You have a bunch of free agents considering the New York franchises and New Jersey and Brooklyn, the Knicks, and they're just thinking about East Coast now.
And you do have those same free agents with LeBron out on the West Coast. You have the same free agents who everyone said, 5 years ago, if you said, or this, not 5 years ago, but like last summer, if you said, hey, this guy's a free agent next summer, where's he going? Oh, LA. And I think LeBron has somewhat, he's swallowed up the market. He has swallowed up the market to the point of, and because people talk about, big markets are going to get the big players. Well, if they had the quintessential best player, quote unquote, in today's NBA, their market's going to get swallowed up. They're not going to get the local TV spots. They're not, or the national TV spots, I should say. They're going to have to stick with the local stuff. And some players, they're going to get the local stuff if they go to a small market team. Now, I'm not saying the Grizzlies are that small market team, but I'm just saying that I just do not see the argument, like you said, with the whole, New York has to get one of those guys. LA has to get one of those guys. Everyone was crying when the Lakers got the 4 pick and the Knicks got the 3. Stephen A. Smith even said, you have New Orleans and Memphis with the first 2 picks? Yes, that's how the lottery went down. Now, people could say it's rigged, it's fixed, all that stuff. It's how the lottery went down. The Pelicans won the lottery. The Grizzlies won the 2nd pick. They have earned the right, by sucking last year, just how the NBA works, they've earned the right to get the top 2 players in the draft. Now, we can all sit here and say, okay, Zion's the best player. But I even sat before the lottery and I said, that's the best 3 case scenarios for the Grizzlies. You get the 1 pick, the 3 pick, or you convey. And you give the pick to Boston. Because with the 1 pick, you have no decision. It's Zion. Book it. Let's make the Grizzlies number 1 jerseys with Zion. Kyle Anderson, change your number. With the 3 pick, boom, you get the guy that the number 2 team doesn't take, which is RJ or Ja, and there's no argument being made because that's one of the best players in the draft. That's the top 3 players in the draft right there. And if you convey, and you can suck the next 2 years and be able to keep your picks and not worry about them getting moved to Boston.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So, say that the Celtics do agree to that.
Agree to trade the conveying pick.
To trade your pick back and to give you Terry Rozier. Everyone, think about this. Historically, the Grizzlies, what's their worst position every year? The shooting guard.
Yes. I would agree.
The shooting guard has been overlooked, undervalued, missed. We skipped out on James Harden. We've constantly undervalued and missed out on top shooting guard prospects. There is no doubt in my mind that RJ Barrett's the next best shooting guard. Plenty of people, even plenty of quote-unquote experts have said he's probably the best shooting guard to come out of the draft in 10 years. Are they saying that about Ja Morant? No. Think about this. Trae Young averaged about 8 assists a game. It's 2 less than Ja, but it's 8 a game. He averaged 5 turnovers a game, just like Ja Morant. And if you mention that, the 5 turnovers, which no one really mentions, it's a big thing. Some of the guys that are getting drafted high as point guards are averaging 3 turnovers a game max.
Right. And
if you think that Ja Morant is going to be your saving grace, your franchise player alongside Jaren Jackson, if you're the Grizzlies, you got to reevaluate yourself. Because think about this: as Ja Morant played at Murray State.
Who's the last one that came out of Murray State to be drafted in the lottery?
Cameron Payne.
Where is he now? Out of the NBA.
Yeah, working for Enterprise. Listen, we don't need Ja Morant.
No.
Think about this. He played for Murray State. That's not my point is, at Murray State, he pressed. He wanted to get 10 assists a game. That had to be a personal goal, or else he wouldn't have passed that much.
Right.
With the offensive ability he had, he should average 35 a game. Being the great passer, quote-unquote, that he is, I think he just wanted to get drafted high and have good stats. I think he was just trying to get stats at a Russell Westbrook, which adds value to a team, sure. But when you're coming to a Grizzlies organization that needs impact players, not to force it just to play a role and be a star, that's not what you want and not what you see in Ja Morant.
I completely agree with, and I think with RJ, his game, in my opinion, the Duke games I watched, which I'm not going to front, I watched more Duke games than Murray State games, but that's just availability. But the best ability is availability. And my thing with RJ is his game was so loose. Granted, he did not have even though he was the number one overall recruit in the class of 2018 after reclassifying from the class of 2019. But so the guy is young, first of all, but also he played really loose in a system that some guys press in. We've seen guys in the past press at Duke. Cam Reddish, just this year, a guy who's number 3 or 5, somewhere in there, top rated recruits, struggled. Now he's going to be a top 10 pick because people see the upside. He had splashes here and there, but he struggled. He struggled at Duke. I think I wouldn't not say he struggled in the spotlight, but when you have the top 2 players in your recruiting class that come in to play for you and you're no longer the guy, you're gonna struggle to, I think, psyche. Your psyche's going to struggle a little bit. It's going to take some blows, especially when you've been used to being the guy and you're not only no longer the guy, you're not even the second guy.
Yeah.
And some nights, Trey Jones was the third guy. So some nights you were the fourth guy. So you got to wonder, how is that going to play in? Now, not trying to get in Cam Reddish because we don't have the 8th pick. Thank God. We have the 2nd pick. The 2nd pick, you take RJ Barrett. His game is loose. Ja, in my opinion, like you said, he presses. And you got to wonder, when you're in the NBA and he's playing against Steph, is he going to press or is he going to be able to make the play? Now, people could say, oh, well, it's different. It's this, it's that. He was pressing, but he was also being fancy. The guy still averaged 5 turnovers a game.
Yeah, it's probably 50-50 if he's going to make a play because
right.
You think about it, he had 10 assists. He matched that with 5.2 turnovers a game.
Yeah.
So you take it or leave it. You're going to get a lot of plays being made, but you're going to get turnovers that you really don't want to have. And you're playing more minutes, so you're going to have more turnovers,
right.
More than likely. It's something that you would have to work on IQ-wise, right? So players can work on it. Ja Morant could get better and could control the ball better. That's always something that guys in the NBA have to work on, have to improve on. So it's not out of the question that Ja Morant is a great floor general for whoever he gets drafted to. I just hope that it's not the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, first off, we don't have to trade Mike Conley. I think we should.
Yes.
Because of kind of the things that we put him through. He wants out anyways. But
especially now with Mark as the taking of this video, Mark's won away from a championship. Mike wants that shot at a title.
Of course
he deserves the shot at a title.
Of course. But if you think about it, when's the last time that we've had a top 10 pick with a chance to actually do something? So last year, we didn't really have a chance.
Yeah, because
from the get-go.
From the get-go, you get the 4th pick. So you're Bagley, 8, and they're off the board. And then you have the trade at 3 with the Hawks and the Mavericks. the swapping of Trae Young and Luka. So really, you were stuck with the Jaren Jackson Jr. pick. But to be honest, that's a great pick to get stuck with because he was a first-team All-Rookie player. He has looked like he is going to be the Nets' great big man for the Grizzlies. And people said, okay, yeah, you got the Nets' great big man. Pair him with the Nets' great point guard. But you have a pretty good point guard right now. Pair him with a great 2, and boom, there you go. You get a quote-unquote big 3 because everyone likes to have a big 3 now. But
and you look at the Raptors, Kyle Lowry is worse than Mike Conley.
And at one time they both won the Grizzlies.
And Mike Conley was able to stay with the Grizzlies because he was better than Kyle Lowry.
Right.
And that really was not a question mark. Mike is flat out better than Kyle Lowry.
Right.
And you can be a great team or even a good rebuilding team without a great point guard.
Yes.
You need a good point guard. So even though Ricky Rubio is not ideal, he's a good point guard. Even though Reggie Jackson's not ideal, he is a good point guard.
I mean, Corey Joseph, I believe, who's the point guard for the Pacers.
And even if you give in to the Spurs and give them Mike Conley finally, they're going to send you a decent point guard.
Right.
But we don't have to worry about having good point guards. Javon Carter's still here. Delon Wright's still here. I mean, I would worry about where we are terrible, and that is on the wing.
Exactly. You have Chandler Parsons finally, thank the heavens, last year of that horrific contract where he's basically averaging about a game and a half per $1 million.
You have an instant impact player.
Yes.
An instant, you would almost say instant all-star. People are projecting when he goes to New York, he could compete for an all-star spot, and then eventually I see him as a potential MVP. You can't stop him.
No.
At however tall he is, 6'7", he absolutely powers through anyone and everyone. And that's something that is to be desired, and that's something that's better than Ja Morant can give.
Right.
Because you look at Steph, you look at Kyle Lowry, you look at how these guys have to shoot layups when they get into the lane. And athleticism does some of that for you. But Steph is skying layups in the air like because he has to.
Exactly.
He's not doing rainbow layups and shooting really high floaters because he wants to. It's because out of necessity. And when you're that small at like 6'2", I believe
6'2",
is what it's somewhere around 6'2", you're going to have to do the same thing. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to try to dunk on everyone.
Just like he did in college.
And it's not going to happen.
It's not.
And so, if you're the Grizzlies, I draft RJ Barrett over Ja Morant. Let's talk about potential trades.
Now, trades, let's just forget about the sign and trade with Boston. I personally think Conley's not getting traded before draft night. Let's say Conley gets traded before draft night, or on draft night, let's say. I think the trade to look out for is with Utah for their first round pick in Ricky Rubio. Same trade that they tried to do in the beginning before the trade deadline. And if it's past the NBA draft, which a lot of people are saying, and I agree, that's probably when it's going to be, then I say it's more than likely to one of the teams who miss out on the point guard, miss out on the Kemba, miss out on the Kyrie, or in the other point guards out there. So I think you're looking at possibly one of the New York markets, possibly one of the LA markets. Those guys with, I think if I'm the Lakers and you miss out on Kyrie, which I think they will, because I think Kyrie will be smart and not want to play with LeBron again. And I really don't see them getting any other guys. If I'm the Lakers, I trade, if it's brought up to me, I trade maybe that number 4 pick or whoever they drafted the number 4 pick for Mike Conley.
Yeah, and so one of the other trades that I see happening is potentially us trading Mike Conley for... Scratch that. I see us drafting Ja Morant, okay?
Right, okay.
And when New York misses out on, say, Kyrie Irving or a star point guard, we ship Ja Morant
for RJ
to the Knicks for RJ Barrett. and you make them beg, you go ahead and try to get another pick.
Right.
Too. And to a team that needs a point guard, Mike Conley is a saving grace.
I agree.
He's been an undervalued, underappreciated, basically all-star his whole career, especially this year.
I mean, coming off career highs in points, assists, or career, basically almost career highs in assists. But you look at that, I mean, he's been undervalued his entire career. He's in the Western Conference, so you really can't fault players for being in the All-Star game ahead of him. But if he's in the East, I think he's a multiple-time All-Star, just like Kyle Lowry is.
All right. I think that's all the time we have.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, just DM us or leave a comment.
Thank you.